Good morning and happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For those of you that might be new here, what we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's here in the house, and then we'll get into this. Mr. Dan R, my man. Appreciate you. We have Nerd Beast, Zarkov, Chris Hanley. What's up, dude? I need my BTC. Good to see you. Back at Tran. Let's see, Lawnmower Man, good morning, sir. Dumpster Fire, Rarails, good to see. Oh, sorry, Raralis, I think that's how you're supposed to say that. Good to see you, buddy. Automatic Beats, mining to fill my bags. Let's go. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Mr. Zarkov said, so I pinned the Tangent link if anybody's interested in that wallet up in the comments, but reason me saying this, Zarkov said, propose the Tangent ring with the BTC value of a diamond ring. You know what? You're a genius, sir. You just got to make sure you get it back. That's, yeah, that'd be a real bad day, Nerd Beast, wouldn't it? All right, let's get into this. We got Bitcoin, 60,354 bucks. We got Ethereum at a 26.98, almost 2,700 bucks. Hell yeah. Solana, we got $148 over here. Do you guys think this is going to be the next ETF? Let me know in the chat. Definitely wondering about that. We're gonna watch a video today. They might be talking about that a little bit. LTC, 63 bucks, 63.64 to be exact, almost 64. We're getting there. We got XRP at 57 cents again. That's just kind of whatever with that. ADA's at 33 cents. We got Caspa at almost 17 cents, just under it. We have APT up 6.9% today at $6.75. Let's see, Dogecoin just under 10.5 cents. We got BNB at $523. Toncoin over here is up to $6.94, up 9.74%. Damn, look at that. Nice, not too bad. Could be worse. Matic is actually down a little bit today at 41 cents. Could be worse. All right, let's do it. Crypto bubbles, see what we got over here. Biggest earner on the day seems to be Toncoin, actually at the 9.7. Like I said, 6.94. We got Phantom over here up 8.2% to 37 cents. Let's see, we got Rune actually 7.6%, $3.60. Not too bad. Mr. Joker Miner, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Good morning, all set. And Pellish Miner, good morning, sir. No worries, man, no worries. Hopefully you got that thing situated yesterday. Celestia is up 7%. So is Notcoin over here. Celestia was $6. Notcoin is at 1 cent. We have Fetch AI or ASI Alliance. I don't know why they changed their name. It is 88 cents at this point. We got Aave. Is that how you say that? 6.5% up today to 102 bucks. Nice. Where's BitTensor? Where is that? Where is it? Right here. Teo is down 2.4% today, 275 bucks. I want to know what your guys' thoughts on BitTensor is. Is anybody holding this coin? Does anybody like this coin? Please let me know. I still haven't had a chance to really dive into it yet, but I've heard a lot of good things, and I don't know. I just wish it was more obtainable for me personally. That's really the only thing that's holding me back about getting it. We got Crow 3.5% up today to 9 cents. This is that crypto.com coin, if I'm not mistaken. No affiliation with them at all. HNT 3.1%, $7.16. Crazy. All right, moving on. Flashbang. We got the Crypto Fear and Greed Index at a 30 over here. Yesterday we were at 31, so nice. We're a little bit lower than yesterday. This is a good thing though. We need to float sideways for a little bit. We need to be in this area, because if this thing is just jumping all over the place, the market's super undecided and we don't want that, right? So we're gonna have to see where that goes. Let's move on to the top 10 coins over here on CoinGecko. By coin market cap, we got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, USDC, XRP, Lido Staked Ether, Toncoin, and Dogecoin in 10th place at a $15.2 billion market cap. We have Cardano in 11th place over here, looking like 12.1 billion. So it's slowly rising, but I think Dogecoin's holding its own right now in 10th place. Let's see, Shiba still in 16th place over here at an $8 billion market cap. I wonder if Shiba is going to do anything, to be honest. It sucks. I own 100 million Shiba and I want it to pump. I should have sold it in the last pump actually, but we're gonna have to see what happens. At the end of the day, it's just a meme coin. We got Litecoin over here, 24th place, $4.7 billion market cap. I think Litecoin's going to do very well. I don't think it's going to go to anywhere where we watched yesterday, the $800 a coin. I don't think it's going to get up there, but I think it could get close to its all-time high easily, right, on this next run. It is a good payment system, has good payment methods, right? Everywhere actually accepts it, that like accepts crypto. So it's just one of those coins, man. It's tried and true. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. That's not saying the Caspa won't possibly take its place someday if it ever gets that mass adoption, but it's still Litecoin. Like, you got to have respect for the OGs, you know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. Chump change, big SHIB convention in Toronto today. Oh, really? Interesting. I didn't know that. Financial Failure, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Rude Puts, my man, good to see you. Good to see you. All right, we got Ethereum Classic in 34th place. Anybody mining this? I actually solo mined it really late last night. Actually, I had all my solar stuff running after the sun went down for like hours. I think it was like 2 or 3 hours after the sun went down, and I was pulling 2,000 watts into the night. I ended the night with 46% on my batteries, and the AL box 2 pulling 360 watts lasted all night. I had a 20% battery when I got in there this morning and did that short. So I was shocked how well things went, but nonetheless, I was solo mining ETC. I don't think I hit a block. I haven't looked, actually, to be honest. So I'm gonna have to check that out and see if I did or didn't. I can get everything back on today at some point anyways. Render over here at $4.90. You know what, dude, I really think I gotta put some money into Render. I really should put some money into Render. I think Render's gonna do all right too, and it's down quite a bit. It was at like 13 bucks, man. All right, moving on. Miners over here. You guys know I like to timestamp this stuff. Kind of going a little bit quick today. I have a bunch of shit I need to take care of, to be honest. All right, so we got the Bitmain Antminer AL1 Pro 16.6 terahash unit. September it is coming out, $337 a day. We got the Bitmain Antminer AL1 15.6 terahash unit making 316 bucks a day. We got the KS5 Pro 21 terahash unit making 25.48 a day. That's kind of brutal. KS5 20 terahash unit making 24.26. KS5M over here is making 15 terahashes rather, making $15.44 a day. Crazy. AL blocks 2 720 gigahashes is the unit I was just talking about. Shout out to Gold Shelf sending this thing over. All my VIPs are actually getting the hash rate right now. Shay is actually getting that as we speak. We have Dan R's actually getting it tomorrow. We have $14.14 a day. This kind of jumps all over the place, to be honest. It's a little under, I think it was under 10, a little under 10 lithium you get per day on this unit. Let's see, again, this is all at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. This will change obviously if you change that. Let's look at the lithium quick. I want to see what the price of that is, just for shits. See if we've had any rise in price. We did 4.5% up today, $1.55. That's way better than where it was yesterday. Or not way better, but 6 cents, 7 cents more. So not too bad. Could be worse. Could be worse. We need this thing to rise a lot of it, not just a little bit though, to keep these miners profitable, because damn. And we need something to happen with Caspa. Caspa needs to have a nice pump up, because the emission schedule is completely murdering these ASICs. Like, it's terrible. The yield is freaking horrendous. It is horrendous. What is the L3++ doing? Road puts.
Stop the cap.
Nobody wants that thing. Get out of here. I added that for DJ Mines, by the way. I miss his streams. I do into him. All right, let's see. We got the Bitmain Antminer L9 over here, 16 gigahashes, making $12.99 a day. When next leg up for Caspa? Dude, hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. I don't know though. You know what? Kraken's supposed to be coming. I don't know when. They said by the end of the year, they think, tier 1 exchange. So Kraken is on the list if I'm not mistaken. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but I'm assuming we're going to get a nice pump when that does happen. So I would just wait and see what happens, you know. The KS5L over here, 12 terahash unit, making $10.72 a day. iPolo G1 over here making $8.80 a day. Man, I kind of want the iPolo though, the G1. This has been one of those units that's been, I feel like it's been in this chart for a while. I thought it was a G1 mini though, or something, if I'm not mistaken. I could totally be wrong. All right, I'm kind of jumping all over the place now. Let's see, the ALO Ice River 400 gigahash unit at 100 watts. Supposed to be getting these things this month. Anybody that ordered them from Ice River, $8.10 per day. That is a freaking amazing if it'll actually hold up. But if it doesn't hold up, it's a big oof. It's a big oof. Yeah, that's really all I can say about that. The AL box, the original AL box, 360 gigahashes at 180 watts, $7.07 a day. I mean, listen, they're low wattage units. It's awesome. It's unfortunate the amount of money they charge for these things, but yeah, I don't know. I wish Gold Shell's prices would come down just a bit. Oh, by the way, shout out to Gold Shell. They have like their 5-year anniversary, so little golf clap for them. That's it's pretty awesome. They've been around that long. It's very hard industry to be in, I guess. Bitmain Antminer L79050. You guys know I got this thing down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them, and shout out to GPU Risers Mike. Actually, I just added his logo to the stream, if you could see it. It's like right there ish. So if you guys need anything, I think code CCXD will get you 10% off over there at that site as well. But 10 cents kilowatt hour. You guys know I got this thing hosted down at Terra Hosting. $3.69 a day. Merge mining Litecoin and Dogecoin. Pretty awesome. DJ Mines in the house. What's up, buddy? Hadouken to you, sir. Hadouken. Perfect. CPI is 2.9%. He says, you know what? We got to watch the market today, I guess. If we have an emergency rate cut, we're going to have issues, right? I don't understand any of that stuff, to be honest. It's like it just like, I don't know what it is. It goes over my head, but you got to watch the markets today. As far as I know, that's what I was told. Hopefully nothing bad happens. I don't know. Anyways, ICE for KS3M. You know what? I'm going to be doing a video in a little bit. I got to record talking about this and the new gold shell miner that's actually being released tomorrow. They're going to have specs and everything. I can't release anything today, but I have the specs on the new unit, and I'm going to compare the two and probably drop a video tomorrow about it, which is going to be kind of interesting. We'll just kind of talk about it, and I don't know. I just hope the freaking new miner doesn't come out like astronomical prices, because they're like about 6 months too late, in my opinion, for these units. We got the Ivy Link BM S3. What is this one? Let's see. 19 terahashes mining Sia coin. This is Blake too. Is this wrong, or is this the right? I remember one of these were like wrong, right? $1.11 a day. I don't know if anybody cares about that one. The Jazz Miner X16Q 1.95 gigahashes, almost 2 gigahashes on ETC over here. 95 cents a day. Bruh. That is freaking miserable. The ICE for KS0 Ultra 400 gigahashes at 100 watts, dude. 39 cents a day. Bruh. That is disgusting. That's really gross, man. The emission schedule, it's like, I love Caspa. It's like it's almost too fast though. It's like by the time you get your miner, it's like, dude, you have like 6 months and this shit's gonna be a doorstop. It's brutal. That's why we need a leg up for Caspa for sure. Caspa price needs to pump, especially with all these big guys getting into it mining Caspa, like Marathon Digital and stuff. It's crazy. I used to for KS2. I don't even think they make these anymore. 2 terahash, you're making 27 cents a day. God, that is awful. KS1, 13 cents a day for KS1. Oh my God. That is like awful. I used to for KS0 Pro. Just throw these in the garbage now. 7 cents. That's crazy. If I wasn't mining on solar, I'd be so mad I bought all this shit. Oh, I'd be so mad at myself. All right. Anyways, we're going to do it. We're going to do it today. Ready? We're going to look at the S19K. We're going to see how much money I'm losing today. How much money are we losing today? $1.70 a day. Bruh. Oh, it's terrible. I'll DM you later. Help you out. What do you, help me out with what? All set. Let me know. Let me know, please. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. What? Right over my head. It's all right. All right, GPUs over here. I appreciate you though. All set. You're awesome. Look at this, Pyron. Ooh, Pyron's taking over the big cards over here. All the 40 series and Zealous. Look at that name dropping over here. Let's see, Pyron. Dude, Pellish Miner. Sorry, PYI. Pellish Miner. Thanks for being a member, dude, for 9 months. Holy shit. Hadouken to you, sir. He said, can I get a hashtag Cats of Crypto and DJ Mines? We need a pic of you on that camel.
Stop the cap.
DJ Mines ain't riding no camel. All right. Oh, Pyron's at 2 cents, 22% today. Holy shit. Hadouken to that. That's sick. Did you see crypto.com teasing a new crypto taking the throne with a crap load of green? No, Luke, I haven't. I have not. I tried to use crypto.com and they wanted a 3% fee. Wild. Yeah, crypto.com's kind of like a, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not for me. It's not for me. They reached out to me about being like exclusive with them, and I just, no, I'm not. No, it's weird. Like, no, I'm not gonna be exclusive with any exchanges. I'm not gonna promote any exchanges. Like, no, I just use what I use. I'm comfortable with Coinbase. I'll use other shit, but like, I'm not gonna promote you guys. Sorry, not happening. All right, let's see. Zealous over here up 13.2% today, $6.28. Damn, Zealous is that expensive? I don't know why I never noticed that. And it's only got a $5 million market cap. That's stupid low. Wow, that's really low. Interesting. But Pyron, man, Ironfish and Pyron, Bitcoin Gold. I still don't understand why people are all about Ironfish. I don't understand this at all. After that big ass rug they had, like, no thanks, dude. No thanks. The shit came out at like $150, and now it's down to 62 cents. Like, bruh. I can never get on board with this. Like, look at this. Just like, all right, it shows $8 here. I was watching this live on the real charts when it came out at 150 bucks. It's like, or maybe it was 120. I don't know. Regardless, it was over $100. It's not even $1 now. That was such a rug. No thanks. Grin 6900 XT seems to be the top coin there. Ironfish and Pyron as well, and Firo. Who cares about Firo? Let's see, what is that? Who donated? Oh damn, I didn't even see that. Zarkov, dude, thank you so much for the 170. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that A stands for. please educate me in the chat. Not using Rust, bro. It's like 98% on Rust. Casper, I'm telling you. What are you talking about? Zealous is using Rust. Is it Alvitus? Interesting. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Caspa is on Rust. I think Luke would know. Yeah, Luke definitely knows a lot about Caspa. I don't know about Zealous though. I don't know shit about it, to be honest. All right, let's see. Xano over here, 7900 XT. I was just mining Zealous actually just to sell it, to be honest. Yeah, you guys got a whole bunch of shit to go into, whole bunch of stuff. So feel free, do whatever you guys want, mine whatever you want. I don't care. Tantrum Ring, dude, this thing's coming out soon. If you guys are interested, I have a link in the description. I mean, sorry, in the description and in the pinned comment. If you guys want CCXD, we'll get you 10% off. Dude, this ring looks sick. I want this thing so bad. Like, look, there's like a chip in it. It's so freaking sick. I can't wait. I can't wait to get it. I really can't. I gotta pre-order one actually. I still haven't done that, but I've been in talks with the company. But yeah, the wallet, I use this thing every day. I use this every day, and it's like the cheapest freaking wallet ever. It's like 50 bucks. All right, moving on. News segment of things. Let's see. We're gonna start with the markets getting anxious around a policy mistake by the Fed. And real quick, Mr. Rude Puts, thank you so much for the perfect 249 euro. I appreciate it. Let's go Dogecoin. Dogecoin to the moon, hopefully. Let's see. All right, guys, let's do this. Hit that like button. Appreciate you all.
Joining us now in the broader markets ahead of this hour's key CPI inflation report, Noah Blackstein, Senior Portfolio Manager at Dynamic Funds. Noah, are you a believer in this growth scare that we seem to have had?
I'm actually, I think the economy's okay. I think we've stabilized. Things aren't necessarily getting worse. I think the risks of a policy mistake, though, have only been heightened more recently. Look, if you look at the summary of economic projections by the Federal Reserve, you're looking at at unemployment of 4.3% and Fed funds 100 basis points lower in 2025. Well, we've already hit 4.3% unemployment. So rates are too high. So whether it's these the largest move in volatility since the pandemic or the global financial crisis, whether it's these abrupt moves that are going on, I think the market is getting significantly more concerned about a policy mistake. You know, we've heard over the weekend one of the Fed governors talking about inflation coming down because of supply issues. That's not really true. I mean, there are at the margin, demand is being choked off by higher rates. So I think the market is getting more and more anxious around a policy mistake by the Federal Reserve and the need for rates certainly to be at least 100 basis points lower than where they sit today. So we believe the economy is fine, but the costs of mistakes are rising.
It sounds almost like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, like you think we're like at an inflection point. Like right here, the Fed has a critical period of time in which to decide how restrictive they will remain in order for the economy to actually avoid that growth scare from materializing.
Well, we certainly got the growth scare with the employment numbers, and then later on the claims numbers kind of eased people's concerns a little bit. But you can see how reactive the markets are. So, and that can feed on itself, and so the Fed has to be. The Fed needs to move things along. Jerome Powell has already said that by the time inflation gets to 2%, it might be too late. Well, PCE annualized on a 3-month basis is running at 2.3%. So, I think for market participants, it's time to get this process along. The extra rate hikes in 2023 for insurance purposes were probably can be dialed back. And so, we're at this point where the economy is fine, things are stabilized. I think for a lot of companies, margins are better as prices have come down. But the risks of staying too high for too long and the impact on the labor market are as balanced, if a lot of, and the market might be even more sensitive to, than the idea that inflation will somehow come roaring back from the unique circumstances of the post-COVID era.
So we've got an economy that's sort of balancing at this point and can go either way. At the same time, you think that there's a lot of money on the sidelines that could come into the market, which would be a positive force, $8 trillion globally in money markets. And so how do you invest in that scenario?
I think there's some things you can control, some things you obviously can't control. But assuming the Fed doesn't make a mistake and we've begun the process of normalizing on rates, and that doesn't mean rates are going back to where they were during the pandemic or the zero bound. We're talking about, Fed funds probably getting around, if you look at where 10-year yields are around the 3.8 level and 2 years around the 3.9, it's going from 5.3 somewhere down to that level, maybe a little bit lower. You're still in an era of higher rates. But I think there's over $6 trillion in the U.S., $8 trillion globally in money market funds. That's not all going to go into the stock market. A lot of that will end up back in bank deposits where it kind of left. I think the secular drivers of AI are continuing and will have an enormous impact, initially on productivity, but eventually on demand generation. And that secular opportunity is still in front of us. It's barely begun. And lastly, I think that, when we look at AI and why sort of the U.S. dominates in that, I think it has a lot to do with the environment, the ability to create businesses, to keep capital, and on a regulation side, the least regulations. The United States celebrates innovation. Europe seems to celebrate regulation. And one of the things people don't talk a lot about in the markets that we think is important was the Chevron decision by the Supreme Court, which basically, where there's ambiguity in law and legislation, the regulatory agencies have filled the gap. That's come to an end. And so better legislation has to come out, and corporations can now challenge these rules that basically are legislation that are passed by regulatory bodies. That can go for judicial review, and companies can litigate that. We think that's very important for the regulatory environment, for making it easier to do business and making it easier for companies overall. So there's a lot of drivers, but the risks of a policy mistake from the central bank are certainly, the costs are high. So we have to navigate through this. If we assume they do the right thing, then there's upside for sure. Certainly for the average stock as well.
I love how they play our music stupid loud. Just like, shut up, dude. Trying to get you out of here. All right, our year-end S&P 500 target remains 5,700. Says RBC's Lori, whatever her last name is. All right, let's do it.
Our next guest says last week's sell-off relieved some pressures in the stock market, but didn't solve its major problems. Here to explain is Laura Calvasina, head of U.S. equity strategy at RBC Capital Markets. Laura, it's always good to see you. We talked the day of the sell-off. Yeah. And now with retrospect, you say that a short-term bottom was probably put in place. But what are some of the issues that the market still has to deal with?
So, I was surprised on Friday. We got the CFTC data, which gives you a good read on U.S. equity futures positioning. I think I checked the file 10 times, looked to see what other people were seeing. My data was right. We didn't really see any improvement in futures positioning. So we still look like we're pretty crowded, including in things like NASDAQ futures. I think seasonality is also really treacherous this time of year, and we've got a lot of uncertainty around the election. We've got new economic policies supposedly being dropped later this week. And then I think we're going to come back after Labor Day, and investors are going to be wanting a lot of information from companies about how things are going in the economy, how things are going with consumers. One of the things I remember, just in recent years, companies don't like to give a lot of information that time of year. They really kind of push off and don't like to give a ton of forward guidance. I'm a little bit worried about that as well.
We will, though, get information about the consumer, just not after Labor Day in September. We're getting it now with earnings season, and we will get sort of what could be the lifeline for the AI trade when NVIDIA reports, because we have been in sort of a data point vacuum since the hyperscalers reported. So couldn't that be enough to sort of get us through that rough period?
I think, you know, it's a question of have we bottomed? I think 8.5% was enough if we don't have a full-on growth scare, but are we going to have the all clear? And I think in my mind we can sort of, you know, have that be the low, but still chop around for a bit and not necessarily break new lows. I will say on the AI thesis, I think one thing that was unnoticed in this reporting season is that, you know, not the major mega cap tech companies, but if you look at sort of, you know, your everyday S&P companies who are the end users of AI, there were some pretty good examples of actual use cases, you know, that were being discussed. And I think the street completely ignored that.
Yeah. You like the defensive sectors better in this environment?
I like value sectors better. You know, we've looked at utilities as an overweight. That one we're still overweight. It's gotten less interesting on valuations, so we're still overweight there. But I would say my attention shifted more to things like financials right now. We're still overweight energy. Obviously, geopolitics are a problem. We always like having that in our back pocket. But the financial valuations have improved and utilities have gotten a little bit worse. So I might shift from the latter back to financials. 5,700
is your S&P target for the remainder of the year. Sticking by it.
Yes.
What is the rate cut backdrop that needs to happen for you to achieve that?
So, you know, it's funny. Our rate strategists are probably, you know, not looking for as many cuts as some of the others on the street. And in part, they think that's because the economy is going to muddle through. Our modeling, when we went through, and I'll spare you all the details on the model, but we basically felt like if you looked at 55 to 5,600 on the S&P, those kind of highs we had a little above 5,600, that was already baking in, you know, say 3 or 4 cuts from the Fed, some pretty benign inflation data, around 2% on PCE is what we modeled in. So we think, you know, kind of returning to kind of those highs is appropriate, you know, for the rate environment most people are looking for.
So it doesn't really matter what CPI does today?
I hope not. I mean, we'll see. Right. You know, I think I agree with the idea that we've kind of moved away from living and breathing every inflation print. Now we're all focused on labor. I think there's a lot of confusion over that jobs report that came out a few weeks ago. So I think people are going to be really attuned to the claims going forward. We certainly are as well.
Nice. All right, let's move on to some crypto news over here. Where are we at? Let's see. The crypto community is looking for clear statements from Kamala Harris. We're going to see what they got to say about this. Should be interesting.
Digital currencies should be a nonpartisan issue by now, you would think, but they are not. Joining us, Circle co-founder and CEO Jeremy Allaire is here, and you can save me from myself, or at least my voice right now. What do you think is going on here, and this sort of very interesting political bifurcation that's taking place in the crypto community?
Well, it's fascinating to watch. As you know, I've been going to Capitol Hill for 11 years almost. First Senate hearing on crypto in 2013, and have spent an enormous amount of time across Republican administrations, Democratic administrations, you know, every which way. What's interesting is that if you look at what happened over the past year, you actually saw a lot of bipartisan work getting done. You saw major bills in stablecoin, major bills in market structure advancing. And so it looked like this was a purple issue. And I actually believe, I think crypto is purple. And you know, I think now we're in politics, though. We're trying to get people elected. And so people are figuring out, okay, this is an industry here to stay. There's a lot of investment from that industry in the campaigns themselves. And so people are staking out these new positions. But it actually reflects, in many ways, if you look 2 years ago, it would be very hard to believe that crypto is going to be a presidential political issue. It would be very hard to believe that there'd be major legislation. The industry would be where it is. You know, 2 years ago, it was a very different world.
So what do you make of the fact that obviously former President Trump has taken this on as his issue, has tried to say he's, you know, crypto friendly, and then we keep hearing, but maybe you can provide some more insight, at least behind the scenes, because we haven't seen it publicly yet, that Vice President Harris is trying to court the crypto community as well.
Stop the cap. So I think that's absolutely accurate. And, you know, as has been reported, I participated in a White House, and there were Harris folks involved as well, discussion last week. And what I can say is there is a concerted effort, both from the administration and the Harris campaign, to really get to know the issues, the players, the industry, the policy issues, et cetera. I think what the industry is looking for very, very clearly is clear statements potentially from the existing White House and clear statements from Harris as part of her economic policy agenda. How is this going to
Fair to say, though, that this administration, the current administration, has not been friendly to crypto, or at least has cast a skeptical eye on it.
Yeah, and I think they've missed the boat on that. I think they've caused American jobs to go overseas. They've made the cost of building in this space extremely prohibitive, and they've created a situation where policy is being adjudicated by the courts and not by Congress, and that is not how a new technology industry should be developed. And so they've really missed the beat on that. But you did see later in this administration this pivot towards, okay, we're going to actually try and pass comprehensive legislation on a bipartisan basis. And so there's some move towards that, but is it too little too late?
And do you see a distinction between, I mean, Gary Gensler was appointed by this administration. Where do you see him playing in this situation?
I mean, look, I think we're 90 days out from obviously from the presidential electoral outcome. And there's a lot of discussion about Harris wanting to, build out her own cabinet, so to speak, if she were to win. Obviously, we know what President Trump would do. But I think, who are going to be...
Do you know what President Trump would do? I mean, that was the other question I was going to ask you, which is he's made a whole bunch of statements about Bitcoin. He went to the Bitcoin conference. But I don't know how deep he would even say he is, just in fairness, on these issues.
I mean, it's hard to know that, obviously. But I think what does seem clear is that a lot of the people around him and his advisors and others have a somewhat sophisticated view on the topic. And so, it's a kind of, is it a delegation of not authority per se, but of kind of really driving the policy agenda. But, I do believe we've reached a really interesting point where there's been incredible technology maturity in this space. It's happening at a very, very accelerating pace. More and more major companies, traditional financial companies, payments companies, consumer companies, others getting into this. Europe is ahead of the U.S. on this. Comprehensive regulation, fully enforced. Other markets very much moving in that. And so this is a huge opportunity for the United States, and it's a huge opportunity for the dollar and digital dollars. And so whatever the outcome, this is advancing.
There was some expectation or hope maybe that Donald Trump at the Bitcoin conference would say that he would want Bitcoin to be a reserve currency of some sort for the United States. Is that still alive? Is that the hope for a Trump administration still, in your view?
I don't. I mean, he made a speech and he said, we won't sell our Bitcoin, basically.
Right.
So I think there's a whole discussion. I don't think it's a long discussion on, is it a good idea for the Federal Reserve to, hold, something like Bitcoin on its balance sheet. That's sort of more of a central bank and monetary policy question.
That would have an impact on you, I would imagine, no?
I mean, I think generally advancing policies that allow private sector innovation to grow, advancing policies that effectively make digital currency dollars that are built on these technologies flourish around the world would absolutely benefit us. And so we've been obviously advocating for those kinds of rules for a very long time. We think this is a key moment for dollar competitiveness, competing with China, competing in this geo-fractured world, and doing it responsibly.
Interesting. Let's see. You guys, someone's saying is Bitcoin dumping. Let's see. I don't know. I just actually swapped some LTC at $63 out back into USDT just in case the market does have a pullback. For now, I swapped like $700 worth. But yeah, that's what I was doing while you guys were watching that. All right, let's do this. Coinbase urges SEC to rethink rule change that brings DeFi under its jurisdiction. Interesting. Let's see what they got to say over here on Crypto World CNBC television. This was yesterday afternoon, obviously, so the price of the coin is going to change. But yeah, that's why I love Tangem, though. Super easy swaps. If you guys are interested, link is in the pinned comment.
Today, bankrupt crypto hedge fund Three Arrows Capital demands more than $1 billion from Terraform Labs. Coinbase urges the SEC to redo a rules change that would bring DeFi under the agency's jurisdiction. And we take a deep dive into Hal Bourne's new report on the top 100 DeFi hacks, which reveals more than $7 billion in total losses between 2016 and 2023.
$7 billion. That's insanity.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Crypto markets were in the red this morning as Bitcoin continued to oscillate around the $60,000 level. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin was lower by 1.2% at about $59,400, but climbed to around $61,000 about an hour later as the Producer Price Index, the first of two key inflation reports expected this week, came in cooler than expected. Also as of noon, Ether inched lower by more than 1%, but still traded above $2,600, and Solana slipped 1% to $146. However, an hour later, Ether rose to the $2,700 level, and Solana jumped to $149. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Collapsed crypto hedge fund Three Arrows Capital is making a $1 billion claim against Terraform Labs. In a filing in Delaware bankruptcy court, the liquidators for 3AC claimed that the creator behind Terra USD and Luna, quote, engaged in a scheme to manipulate the open market for Luna and UST, which inflated the price and induced Three Arrows to buy the assets. The liquidators also claim that the collapse of 3AC is directly attributable to the fraud perpetrated by Terraform Labs. Just a quick reminder that in June, Terraform Labs and its co-founder, Do Kwon, agreed to pay $4.5 billion to the SEC after a jury found the organization liable for fraud. Now, all told, Three Arrows liquidators are seeking more than $1.3 billion from Terraform Labs. Next, Coinbase is calling on the SEC to rethink a rule that brings DeFi into the agency's regulatory purview. In March, the SEC adopted a revision to the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. In that update, the definition of an exchange was expanded to include more kinds of assets and institutions, decentralized finance being one of them. Amid growing outcry to that rule, the SEC reopened its comment period on the proposal, and in a letter to the agency submitted on Monday, Coinbase said it's concerned about the expanded definition of exchange. The crypto company said the SEC irrationally assumes that compliance is possible for decentralized exchanges and said that the agency needs to re-propose the rule and decline to extend the guidelines to decentralized exchanges, also known as DEXs. In a statement shared with us, an SEC spokesperson said the agency, quote, benefits from robust engagement from the public and will review all comments submitted during the open comment period. The SEC added it generally responds to comments received as part of the final rulemaking and not beforehand. And finally, speaking of the SEC, the agency just filed fraud charges against an alleged crypto marketing scheme. In a Monday press release, the SEC alleged that Novatech and its principals operated as a multi-level marketing scheme to defraud more than 200,000 investors around the world. The SEC claims Novatech was able to rake in more than $650 million by promising to invest the funds in crypto and foreign markets. At the same time, the SEC filed charges against top promoters of the platform, claiming they were paid large sums of money to promote Novatech and continued to do so even after regulators made them aware of multiple red flags. One of those promoters, Martin Zizi, agreed to settle the SEC's charges by paying a $100,000 civil penalty, pending court approval. All right, for our main story. Yesterday, Halburn released its report on the top 100 DeFi hacks between 2016 and 2023, which reveals more than $7 billion in total losses in that time frame. Crypto World's Talia Kaplan spoke with the report's author, Mara Menez, and Halburn's VP of Enterprise Security, Piotr Cheles, about the report's key findings and the trends that were uncovered.
I went through your new report on the top DeFi hacks, and I want to point out some of the key findings. In the 6-year time span between 2016 and 2023, a total of $7.35 billion was lost to these hacks, with the $624 million exploit of the Ronin network back in 2022 accounting for the largest hack in that time frame. Some of the common exploits you found include direct contract exploitation, which accounted for 33% of hacks, followed by both compromised private keys and price manipulation at 27%. Mar, you're the author of this report, so I want to start off by asking you, what jumped out at you while you were putting this data together? What would you say was the main takeaway of your research?
I think the main takeaway is that even though it seems like we have improved security in regard with auditing a smart contract, there is still a huge percentage of hacks that are on auto-audited protocol, and that we need to do like a holistic and complete audit of the protocol, taking into account those off-chain vectors like a compromised private key and other kind of chain attacks.
Now, another interesting note from your report, the number of attacks peaked in 2021 with 38% of the top 100 hacks taking place that year. The trend showed a slight drop in the number of attacks within the next 2 years, but the numbers were still significant and a lot higher than the years 2016 through 2020. The amount of money lost per year was also a lot higher in the year 2021 through 2023, with losses peaking in 2022, which your report says highlights the increasing scale of DeFi and the high stakes involved. Piotr, what do you attribute the growing trend of DeFi hacks to? And why do you think we saw a drop in both the number of attacks and the amount of money lost last year?
I think there are multiple facets to this. We've seen an explosive growth of DeFi as a new paradigm in both finance and technology. Since 2020, throughout 2021, 2022. Which also coincided with, very high profile, collapses of both decentralized and centralized companies, which, naturally brought down the value of, cryptocurrencies in general. And so, while the numbers that they may, show lower values, still the number of hacks and the structure of them, that still remains quite concerning. And so this is both economic reasons for the drop in value, but for the increased activity, that's increased adoption and popularity of DeFi within blockchain and power users.
I also wanted to add that even though we saw a trend of a lower number of attacks and a lower value lost on 2023, it could also be related to the fact that there was kind of a crypto winter last year. And so far, in the 8 months we have this year, if we check, for example, the top 10 leaderboard hacks, we already have 4 that are, 3 that are from 2024 and are higher in value lost than 2023. It also coincides that the total value locked on the fee protocol have been increased, although it's still not at the level of 2022. So we might see an increase on number of hacks and value lost this year. We don't know, it's difficult to predict.
Now, I want to turn to the most targeted chains. Your research found that Ethereum led in both the number of attacks and total value lost, accounting for nearly 50%, followed by Binance Smart Chain with 16% and Polygon with nearly 8%.
Dude, that's crazy. That chart's insane. Ethereum 45.7%. And the Binance Smart Chain 16.3%. That's crazy.
With nearly 8%. Piotr, why do you think Ethereum was the most targeted? Is it because most decentralized applications are built on this specific chain?
That's largely true, yes. Oftentimes, the Ethereum and its extended ecosystem is the first step in most people's DeFi and smart contract and cryptocurrency journey. Binance Smart Chain and Polygon, they share some similarities, to some, a large extent with Ethereum. And so, they are considered a part of the Ethereum ecosystem. And so it's quite easy to port a concept, a project, and attack vector too from
and it's most widely adopted, right? Like, yeah, most people, I mean, it's most used, right? It says financial failure, and that's very true. The bigger the chain, the more wallets there are, the more people that are susceptible to being hacked. So
one ecosystem to another, just
yeah. And MetaMask's a huge one. A lot of Ethereum stuff is there. It's just crazy
because how similar they are.
Now, the report notes that DeFi protocols face diverse vulnerabilities, with input validation flaws and logic errors being the most common. The report also points out that while proof verification errors are less common, they also lead to significant losses. Now, the report also offers some ways these risks can be mitigated to protect against substantial financial damage. Those include auditing and validation processes. So, Peter, can you take us through some of the ways the risk of hacks can be reduced?
The first and foremost thing we should remember is that security is not a product, it's a process, and more poetically, it's a journey. So you set off as early as you can on that journey while you start conceptualizing your product, your service. Just how close you are to the actual user funds or the treasury of your organization. You need to involve security in every step of your product or service lifecycle. And so if you solution for some of the attacks, before they happen, or before someone points them out to you, either an internal or external security services provider, you'll be better prepared for your a beta launch, for your mainnet launch, and for obviously increased user base. Because when you grow too big, oftentimes it's unfortunately too late to fix some foundational issues.
You'll be able to check out more of.
All right, we don't want to check out more of that. All right, moving on to videos. I got a few things to do, so we're gonna blast through this one too. Watch out, institutions like BlackRock are planning this, and this is I think he's gonna get into talking about Solana being an ETF, possibly. Let's see.
Lee, is this something you're going to continue to do? Sell Bitcoin exposure, lessen that Bitcoin exposure, and increase Solana exposure?
Massive news today.
What?
Make sure you watch the entire
crazy.
video. Smash the like button. Let's start right here. Bitcoin reserves on exchanges just hit an almost 7-year low. We have not seen these levels since 2018. According to Quant Fund, Bitcoin reserves on centralized exchanges have plummeted to levels not seen since November 9th, 2018. Whales are accumulating Bitcoin en masse, and in this case, whales are institutions. Wirehouses continue to keep turning on solicited sales. We told you about that in this video.
Again, they want to control all of the Bitcoin. They want to hold it all and give you a piece of paper that says I owe you.
You're probably talking about a couple $100 billion in assets had access to it before. And now we're talking about 2 trillion that have access to it. The reason why it's important is because we're going to go from it being approved in this manner on Morgan Stanley, then Wells Fargo will follow, then UBS will follow, then regional firms like Stifel Nicholas and Robert W. Baird will follow, LPL will follow, Hightower will follow, Rockefeller will follow. These are all organizations that have hundreds of billions, if not trillions themselves. The Wells Fargo and the UBS, they've got trillions of dollars of assets under management. So it's the equivalent to opening up $10 trillion of again, liquid net worth. This is not 10 trillion in commercial real estate, right? This is 10 trillion in money that can be moved at the click of a mouse from one stock or one sweep account into a Bitcoin ETF. So this is very, very meaningful over the next 3 to 6 months because all those platforms are going to be opened up.
Morgan Stanley was the first, but there's plenty more to come after that. Now, the Bitwise CEO, Hunter Horsley, just tweeted out, a well-known bank with $1 trillion in client assets has just approved the Bitwise Crypto Industry Innovators ETF for solicited access across wealth management. Thrilled to support these advisors, another step in Bitcoin and crypto entering the mainstream. So our news from the other day was that Morgan Stanley was the first wirehouse. They have 1.5 trillion assets under management, and they turned on solicited sales. Their advisors are allowed to reach out and sell the BlackRock ETF, sell the Fidelity ETF. This was just the start, and we're seeing a continuation of that. Now, a well-known bank with $1 trillion in client assets just approved Bitwise. This goes along with the global money supply exploding up. breaking out of a 4-year consolidation. Guys, smash the like button if you're getting value. Smash the like button if I'm cluing you in to something you wouldn't have otherwise known. Now, check this out. Despite the dip, and Ethereum dipped hard the other day at almost 50%, but despite the dip, like Bitcoin, the Ethereum balance on exchanges just hit a new low. This is insanely bullish. In fact, Chainalysis reveals just one single whale has nearly accumulated 100 million in Ethereum over the past 2 months. He tried to be
$100 million of Ethereum in the past 2 months. That's wild. That's a shit ton of Ethereum.
Stealthful? We found out that's why you subscribe to Altcoin Daily. We tell you this stuff.
Is that why?
And to go even further, because the Ethereum ecosystem is exploding as a whole, the amount of Ethereum in smart contracts is approaching the 40% mark.
Can we get like some crazy Ethash coin that we can just mine and make a shit ton of money again? Please, this is what we need.
This is insane. The market still doesn't grasp how scarce ETH truly is. Just imagine what happens if demand picks up even slightly. Ethereum will melt faces. Be ready. Combine that with an explosion in the layer 2 ecosystem. It seems that at least recently, investors are flocking to ETH over Bitcoin as markets recover. Ethereum funds also lead the Bitcoin ETFs in monthly performance with 150 million inflows in August so far. BlackRock's Ethereum ETF on track to hit 1 billion in net inflows. Maybe it did today. And Grayscale, this is an interesting metric.
Real quick, I was just reading in the chat. Yeah, Coinbase, I think, is like custodians of like 9 out of 13 or something of the ETFs.
Grayscale's Ethereum Trust records its first zero outflow day after 12 consecutive days of outflows. Now, in contrast, Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF Trust, it took 78 consecutive days of outflows before it broke the streak. So it seems like as we continue to get further into this maturing bull market, Bitcoin's doing great, but more people seem to be eyeing Ethereum. And in addition to that, more people seem to be eyeing Solana. VanEck's head of digital assets, Matthew Siegel, recently said that the Solana ETF approvals are inevitable. You know, Brazil might be a smaller market than the US, but there's still a market. Brazil recently approved a spot Solana ETF. Now, VanEck's head of digital assets says Brazil's approval of a Solana ETF signals that a US counterpart isn't just a probability, it's as inevitable as the next block in the chain. What's your take on this? Most people forget Solana's partnered with Shopify, Solana's partnered with PayPal. Solana's got a lot going for it. It surprised me that more and more institutions and businesses are coming out and saying, we have a Bitcoin strategy, we have an Ethereum strategy, but most particularly, we're bullish on Solana and we have a Solana strategy. This is Leah Wald of Cypherpunk Holdings. I always thought she was more Bitcoin maximalish, and she is a big believer in Bitcoin, but it seems she is also a big believer in Solana. Here she tells us why.
Well, she's a big believer in money, I'm assuming. She probably sees the more upside potential in Solana, seeing as it's only $100 and something. It's easy to 2, 3, 4x that versus 2, 3, 4x in Bitcoin.
Cypherpunk is basically a Bitcoin holding company, maybe similar in structure to MicroStrategy, which the U.S. audience might be more familiar with. But it seems like recently you've been investing more heavily in Solana.
That's absolutely right. And first of all, Tim and Katie, thank you so much for having me on. We've been very interested in the Solana ecosystem. Obviously, there's been dynamics at play for Ethereum and Bitcoin and their growth, and also maybe some hiccups along the way. But for the Solana ecosystem, we're seeing large development from the platforms, from the infrastructure, for the community. And it's very important to note for the growth and sustainability of a token and its blockchain is how well that ecosystem and the community developers are building on that ecosystem and engaged.
Lee, is this something you're going to continue to do? Sell Bitcoin exposure, lessen that Bitcoin exposure, and increase Solana exposure? What can investors sort of take away from the strategy moving forward?
What is up with these glasses being like in style now? I feel like everybody has these Mr. Potato Head glasses. I don't get it. Is it like a new thing? I feel like the last few days I've seen at least somebody wearing them in these news channels.
As of now, you can see from the public statements that that has been the strategy. We're very interested.
There's no lenses on them? What? Hold on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like stop this. Squirrel. There's no lenses. Please, that's not it. You're lying. That's not real. Are you serious? People wearing those, no lenses? Why? The hell's the point?
Now you can see from the public statements that that has been the strategy. We're very interested in following Solana and the movements of Sol moving forward.
What would be sort of a typical asset allocation in the end? Like, what's the target asset allocation?
There's no way. There's no lenses.
So we're also ramping up our staking operations. So we're interested in not only the price movements and holding Sol on the balance sheet, but also being an active participant in the Sol and Solana staking ecosystem. So from an operations perspective, we're trying to engage and enhance performance. As for asset allocation, things are definitely changing at Cypherpunk Holdings, so I hope you stay tuned.
Hey, if you're going
that's crazy. We're not going. All right, I guess that's let's jump forward to this.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Now is the time to get serious.
All right, never mind. Yep. All right, just gonna shill shit for the rest of the time, so we're not gonna listen to that. Let's get into the recap segment of things. Anybody just joining, I apologize, but I gotta get the hell out of here. So we got Bitcoin 59,246 bucks. We got Ethereum at 26.46. Solana's at 146 bucks. XRP 57 cents. We got LTC at 63.41. My luck, it's going to continue to go up, but I bought some last week at like 55 bucks. So I made some money on it, took the gains. We're just going to wait. If it drops back down, it does, then I'll buy back in, but we'll see. Maybe I'll just put it into Caspa. Caspa's at almost 17 cents over here. We got ADA 33 cents. Actually, you know what? I might swap it into ADA. ADA is a decent buy actually right now, I think. Dogecoin 10 cents. Toncoin 6.9. Sorry, 6.9. It's up 9.6% and it's $6.90. All right, crypto bubbles. See if anything changed here. Not really. Seems to be the biggest earner. Still Toncoin over here. Again, 9.4. All right, flashbang. Anybody just joining? Fear and greed index is at a 30. This is good. We need to float sideways again. When people are fearful, it's time to be greedy. When people are greedy, it's time to be fearful. You guys know the deal there. All right, nothing is nothing's really changed. Everything's looking pretty good, except for the except for Bitcoin mining down $1.70. I'll buy S19K Pro 120 terahash unit. Bruh. Miserable. Absolutely miserable. All right, guys, listen, I appreciate you all. Thanks for joining me on the daily grind. I gotta get out of here. Got a bunch of stuff to do. You guys have a great, fantastic Wednesday. Only a couple more days till the weekend. I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, peace out. Have a good day.
She don't hawk to her, we don't talk to her. Perfect. Eat shit, Gary.